Hey guys, so today we're going to be making a kind of a last minute gift idea. It's a hat pattern. We are using Red Heart yarn. I'm using Red Heart yarn. Feel free to use anything you'd like. It is a cotton yarn. I have my knitting needles. They're from my Knit Affair. And I have some scissors. And you can also get a tapestry needle, but you won't need that for a while. So we're starting off by our slip knot and casting on 60 stitches. I cast on 60 stitches and the hat ended up being a little too big for me, but I have a very small head, so you can cast on as many stitches as you need. I'm also working this flat. Also be aware that it will stretch a little because we're making a band. Okay, so I think that's all the information I need to give you. So for the first row, now that we have our stitches casted on, as you can see, we are going to start our first row. We're going to start with a ribbed stitch, or a rib pattern, a band for our hat. Now, if you are a beginner or if you cast on your stitches really tight, I would suggest knitting the first row. For a lot of my projects, I just knit the first row anyway. It's a really good tip that I learned on my own, really, because my stitches are always so tight. So here I am just knitting the first row. And if you don't want to, you can just go ahead with the rib stitch. And the rib stitch is just a knit one, purl one, pattern. So you just repeat that, and it's the same for each row as long as you have even number stitches. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to continue, and now we're starting our rib stitch with this row. So we knit one, purl one all the way around, and we are going to be doing this for 4 rows. And you can change it if you want a thicker band or a thinner band. I prefer a thicker band. But usually 4 rows is perfect, especially with this weight of yarn and the needles we're using. And we're back in focus, so it's a good thing. And here is our band. So this is what our band looks like. It's your typical rib stitch. And now we're going to start our hat pattern. So we're going to start by using a stockinette stitch. So our stockinette stitch is just knit across the odd rows. This we're counting as an odd row because it is row 5. Technically it's row 6 if you started with the knit row, but I don't count that row when I'm making something. So this is an odd row and we are knitting it across. And then when we have our even rows, we will be purling across. So you knit your odd rows and you purl your even rows. And we're going to be doing this over 6 rows of stitches. And once we do that, we're going to flip it. So for 4 rows. So instead of knitting our odd rows, we're going to be purling our odd rows and knitting our even rows. So it's still the same stitch, still stockinette, it's just going to look different for us. So 4 rows stockinette with a purl on the odds, and 6 rows with a knit on the odds. So knit 1 row, purl the other row across 6 rows, and then reverse that. So purl the odd rows and knit the odd rows, knit the even rows for 4 rows. That's a lot. But I will have a pattern description in the description bar, a written out pattern, a link to it on my blog that you can check out, and I will probably post it on Ravelry too. I'm trying really hard to actually stay active on that because I know a lot of people use it, but I always forget, so I'm sorry. So we are just going to keep on knitting this, knit, 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 knit across. So yes, it's a stockinette stitch. and it's just how we change it. Oh, and this is when my yarn got tangled and I was very upset. So here we are actually starting our purl for the first row, our first stockinette with the purl. So we're going to purl each stitch across now, and then we're going to knit the next row. And we're going to keep doing that for upon 4 rows, and then we're going to go back to our original. So there will be 2 rows where you do the same stitch. Does that make sense? So you knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, and then you purl again. I think it makes sense, but I will have everything written once again in a pattern because I know it kind of sounds confusing. Sorry about that. I'm really trying to not be confusing. I promise you. Alright, so here I am. I've worked on the hat for a few rows now. We've gotten some distance. I'm fixing the lighting situation with this. Whew. It is so tough to get the perfect lighting. And even this isn't perfect. But, so now you can see what it actually looks like with our pattern. So you see how we have like different textures. Also, on the back side, it's reversed. So we actually have that same effect. So it's kind of inside out. I'm not really sure if that's true. Yes, but I also changed my nail color. Now I'm more holiday festive. I'm still fixing my lights, my settings, and I zoomed you in. So you can see what it looks like now that we've gotten a couple rows. This is a purled first row, or stockinette starting with a purl. And that's why I chose to do this flat, actually, because if you work in the round, then you have to change more, your stitches are different, because when you work in the round, your stockinette stitch is just knitting. You know what, I'm not going to confuse you guys, so don't worry. I feel like I already have confused you. I apologize, so let's just keep knitting. So once you achieve the height that you want for the hat, mine is probably too long for me, but I like slouchy hats. So the slouchier you want it, the longer you want to make it, or the many more rows you want to make it. So I have my tapestry needle, and we are going to sew our sides together. Sides together. Is that the right thing? Yeah, we're going to sew the ends together. So each end. Oh gosh. Yes, so I'm just sewing it down, and because the hat is reversible, you don't really have to pick a side. I picked a side, but you don't have to. So now that we've sewn the sides, we're going to sew the top. So I kind of pinch it in the middle, and then I bring the other sides into the middle, and then I have these four clovers, kind of like these four leaves, and I just sew each of those together. Probably not the most efficient way to do this, but yes. And then once I sew one of those, I kind of weave my needle through back through the center, just so I'm back in the center, and then I start knitting the next side. So you see we kind of have like our four corners, and we knit those, we sew those together. And once we're done with that, we are done with our hat, and we can gift it, or we can wear it, or yeah. I hope you guys liked this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Please make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And bye. I love you guys. Happy holidays.
Audio Jungle.